Number 3 of our national contest today. This will be given by Arnie Buss, entitled Listen, Listen by Arnie Buss.
Listen. If you want to be heard, listen. If you want to be heard, listen. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests, if you want to be heard, listen? What's with that? I thought in Toastmasters, we're here to speak. We're not here to listen. But fellow Toastmasters, the biggest cause of breakdown in communication is not for want of speaking or speaking skills, it's for want of listening skills. At any point in time during a Toastmaster activity, more people are listening than they are speaking. Right now, there's one person speaking and many people listening. Listening is important in all relationships. Relationships with a significant other, with a spouse, with a friend. Relationships between organizations, between management and labor, between different religions, different political parties, different political ideologies, between nations. Everybody's trying to speak, and nobody is listening. What's the purpose of speaking if we're not listening? Developing listening skills is probably even more important than developing communication skills. Listening is by far the most important communication skill that anybody can develop. So wait a minute, here in Toastmasters, we give speeches. That's what the manual is about. But in the Competent Leader Manual, the very first project is called listening. When it comes to leadership, one of the most important skills is listening. A great leader is not one who is the decider, but a great leader is one who listens and then leads the way. What are some of the barriers to listening? We don't like what we hear. So what do you do when you don't like what we hear? Well, you argue back. You say they're wrong. You say, how can you possibly think that? Last night on one of these reality shows, they had two contestants who spent half the show arguing with each other and bickering. No, you're right. No, I'm right. You're wrong. I'm right. No, you're wrong. They weren't listening. In relationships, listening is by far the most important skill. To paraphrase St. Francis, seek first to understand and then be understood. It's a wise saying to try to walk a mile in the other person's shoes. And that's not just because at the end of that, they're going to be a mile away and barefoot. So you can understand where they're really coming from. Now, what is it that you listen for? Is it the words that they're saying? Well, that's at the very minimum. But what's really being said is often what's underneath. The feelings, the wants. If you hear criticism, if you hear somebody who's upset with you, if you hear somebody telling you that you're wrong, then it's because they are in pain. It's because there's a want that they have that they're not getting. And so if you start by pointing out where they're wrong, if you don't listen to them, if you don't listen to what's underneath, then they won't feel heard. And they'll just have to say what they're saying even louder, or they will. Have you ever tried to think of something else other than your tooth when you had a toothache? If somebody is speaking to us and criticizing, then they have a toothache. They have an emotional toothache. And when you have a toothache for real, there's only one thing that fixes it, and that's a trip to the dentist. Now, the trip to the dentist here is by listening to their pain, not just the words, hearing what their want is. So you come home and your spouse says, "You never take me anywhere." So how do we react to that? Say, well, what do you mean? We just went to the movies a couple weeks ago. What are you talking about? You're wrong. Or, you never take me anywhere. Well, you know, if you made more money, we'd be able to afford to go out to fancier places. That's not listening. What's going on? You want to spend more time together, and you want to spend it going out. So hearing what the underlying feelings are is what listening is all about. It's not just hearing what the words are, but it's getting the feelings. So when you feel criticized, listen. When you feel attacked, listen. When you feel there's something that you have to say, listen. When you want to be understood, listen. Seek first to understand, and then to be understood. Listen. Mr. Toastmaster.